Welcome everyone. Today we'll have our second faction guide for last epoch. And in this video, we'll look into some of the top reasons and also some very important parts about why you want to pick the Merchant Guild after getting your Circle of Fortune. So I'll explain why you want to do it after, and those are some really important reasons for us to look at. Now in this video, I'll be explaining to you guys how the Merchant Guild works, how to buy, how to sell items, and how to potentially make tons of profit by using different methods with mass listing, because there's no limits to how much you can list, and also using different ways of potentially printing gold from some of the gold sink dungeons, which allows you to transfer gold into items and then sell those items for more gold. Now, if you guys are unsure with how the factions work and what are the things that it unlocks, definitely come over to our previous video, which I explain those in more details. So as this video is the second part of that particular video, what I want to do is, let's jump directly into the Merchant Guild. Now, in the previous video, guys, we talked about a lot of details into the Circle of Fortune. And for this video, I have collected a lot of notes for the Merchant Guild. And the notes will be available for you guys to have a look, of course. So what are the specifics of joining the Merchant Guild? Well, by joining the Merchant Guild, you can be selling and also trading items. And there's a variety of items which we can briefly have a look. So starting from rank 1 is basic items, not a big deal. Rank 2 set items can be potentially game changing for certain builds. And once you get to rank 3 with unique items, you can start up a lot of builds from the mid game all the way to the end game before crafting them into legendaries. Rank 4, you can trade idols. Rank 5, exalted weapons. Together with unique weapons, all of the exalted items, unique items, legendary weapons, and also legendary items. Now, what you can see with the Merchant Guild is, right away, there is not an instant reward for unlocking those ranks. And you'll have to be trading using your time and also resources like gold to get the most out of it. There's also limitations with how you want to trade. So let's briefly come over to how Merchant Guild works. So firstly, there are some must-knowns for the Merchant Guild. I mentioned earlier, I strongly recommend us to go with the Circle of Fortune at the start of the game. And this is what I said in the previous video if you haven't seen it. The Circle of Fortune will give you tons of bonus drop rate. But as you play the game and also get bonus items from Circle of Fortune, those items cannot be traded. And this was stated in the patch notes. So the additional items you get from Circle of Fortune cannot be traded. The second thing is, a lot of players like myself like to play the auction house, play the player economy, buy cheap items and sell them for a fair price. Sometimes items will be listed very low at the start of the season or start of the cycle. But with last epoch, they have mentioned purchased items from the marketplace or the auction house or the Merchant Guild, they cannot be retraded. And this removes flipping and also profit making. This is quite interesting because in Path of Exile, I also feel like sometimes I'm underselling items and people just want it all the time. I feel like I'm at a loss. Other times I feel like, I'm listing items for too high. So this really helps players in the sense that because there's less people that's flipping items, people who really wanted those items will be buying for them. And people who are here to make some profit is not going to be happy about this, of course. So this is this is a good thing or a bad thing, as long as you guys know this particular line. It cannot be traded once you bought those items from the marketplace. Now, we mentioned earlier, at certain rank of the Merchant Guild, you can be trading basic items, set items, etc. So the rarity and also type of item that can be traded is limited by the rank of your Merchant Guild. And finally, as you trade items, you also need favors. And those favors are needed on top of the gold asked by the seller. How this favor works is it is automatically associated to a particular item type that is determined by the game. This can be based on rarity and also item type. And if you don't have those favors, well, then you can't buy those items even if you have the gold. Well, that sounds pretty bad, right? But you can be earning favors by killing monsters and also doing quests for the Merchant Guild. And this, I guess, limits for people buying massive amount of items just with gold. So you still have to have favors to be buying items, which is quite important. So now, briefly talking about how to buy items in the Merchant Guild. Well, first you have to join the Merchant Guild, not the Merchant Guide. I keep saying Merchant Guide all the time. And by visiting the bazaar in the north of the major city with Malacca and into the Divine Era, you'll be able to find a lot of traders or NPCs that is available, just like the auction house. Unlocking the ranks in the reputation for the Merchant Guild will allow you to have the chance of selling different rank of items. And then, as we mentioned earlier, you have to have sufficient favors automatically determined by the server. When the seller lists item, a favor will be determined. And then you have to match the gold asked by the seller. So this seems quite complicated again, but bear in mind, as on the second part, I'll explain why this is quite good. So briefly coming over to the notes for last epoch, I think it's a little easier if I come over to the notes and show you guys some of the displays, which is more visual. So here's the location of the traders in last epoch that will be available in EPOCH 1.0. And as we keep going, let's look into the buying of items. You can see that the buying of items actually have a great filtering system. And this allows us to search, to determine categories of items, and also to look into parts of items and also FXs in more details. So this is a great filtering, great AI system. And you can see some of those items will be listed for hundreds and thousands of gold, together associated with favors along that. So it's quite important if you're buying items, you need both favors and also gold available to get those items. Now the good thing about having such a good search system is that they also have an instant delivery system. So you can be getting items into your stash or the gift stash right away once you purchase those items. Now briefly coming over to how to sell those items. Well, to sell items, you first want to go to your personal store or go to the bazaar vendors and then go to your personal store. So briefly coming over here to show you guys the part of selling items. So once you go to the personal store over here, you can be listing items that is available in your stash. And once you list those items, notice how that it automatically determines the amount of favor that is required. Over here, I think it's about 2,980 favors for buying the item that was listed over here for the unique item. I think this is a poem, right? So once you list those items with the amount of gold you want to be getting, you can list those items onto the marketplace without a fee. Now, in terms of listing, it is quite nice because the buyers will be paying the cost of the favors. You are not paying anything to list items. And this is incredibly good because there's no fee with trading. You get all the gold you ask for each of the items. And items can list unlimited times. Players can list unlimited items. And there's no limits to how many items you can list at once with your trading. And this allows you to potentially use strategies for mass listing, which we'll have a look. And players can again unlist items at any time. So the flexibility and also benefits of selling items is really high once you get the hang of it. And this is why I recommend after trying out Circle of Fortune, maybe get it to rank 7, rank 8 or rank 6, then look into the Merchant Guild to get the most out of it. Now coming over to the second part. You can tell I really am excited about trading and I love player economy. So that's why I spent a little more time on the first part. So here are some of my top 5 reasons why you want to pick the Merchant Guild after the Circle of Fortune. So the first thing is, yes, player economy with no fees and also no flipping is gonna be amazing for a lot of players. This is an extremely beneficial way for any player that participate in the game, and as long as you get yourself to maybe rank 6, then you can be buying unique items with legendary potential. And if you get yourself to, rank 8 or rank 10, you can pretty much purchase any item in the game as long as you have the gold. And the favors, they won't be a big deal because as you play the game, you can be earning lots of favors for killing monsters. And because favors are fixed, you can, not worry about this in the late game because you'll be killing lots of monsters in the Echo and also in the Monolith. Now, in terms of player economy, I know some players will be a little sad because you can't be flipping items, but for me and also for a lot of new players, this could be a really good thing to protect new players from not getting taken advantage of. So people who buy it will definitely use those items. At least that is comforting. Now, we mentioned earlier, the developers have said, previously there is a limit to trading, then they remove the limits to how many items you can list. So how this can benefit players is that we can try to set a few simple rules to mass listing. For example, listing all the exotic items with a tier 6 or tier 7 FX, or listing all the unique items with those categories, or listing all of those items with at least 1 legendary potential for at least 200 or 500 or 1 million gold. So this way you can potentially make a lot of gold by clearing out your stash or your storage, and then this can be a great way to earn some of the top level items in the late game by trading away your useless items. So what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to make a guide for marketplace, auction house, item filtering of how to mass listing items and any of the listing tricks for the start of the cycle, middle of the cycle, and end of the cycle to get the most out of mass listing. Now on the topic of a new cycle, on a new season, usually players can find some really rare items after tier 7 with FX with exalted items. And this can be some really best in slot items for a niche build. So at the start of the season, a lot of players like myself want to try a new mastery like the Warlock or the Falconer. But some players might be playing a build not a lot of people are playing. And this could be the point you can be buying your best in slot items, unique items, very cheap because no one's got gold, no one used those items at the start of the cycle, right? So the dynamicness of the marketplace is always changing. And because this is the start of the new season, start of the cycle, and everyone's new to the economy, this could be really fun. And as players play the game, more items will be available in the mid and also end stage of the circle or the cycle. And also you'll be getting best in slot items and also one of those top tier legendary crafting items from the marketplace. Definitely a lot of people will be showing off in the marketplace, maybe listing items for like 200 billion gold just to show off their best items, right? Now I mentioned earlier the gold sync or the gold printing method of the marketplace. So as you guys know, the lightless upward, and if you didn't know, this is a dungeon that at the end of the dungeon you can be spending gold to get chests, and you can be spending anywhere from 100,000 gold to 500,000 gold to 1 million, 2 million, a lot of gold to be getting a lot of bonus drops from chests. This includes glyphs, this includes ruins, unique items, exalted items. So how does this help us? Because having the marketplace, the items you get can be directly massively listed without limits onto the marketplace. And this means that, let's say if I spend 5 million gold to get tons of items, and I sold those items for 10 million gold. Now I come back to the dungeon using my dungeon key, and all of a sudden used another 5 million gold to get another 10 million gold. So I'm literally farming items using the gold I sell into other players, and I'm repeating this one to get unlimited profit with gold and also to get unlimited amount of loot from the dungeons as long as I have enough dungeon keys. And this can be great because some players will be looking for certain unique items, FXs and also idols, which we can make it extremely profitable by farming dungeons and also echoes using those methods. Now finally, one of the most important and also one of the biggest deal for me for marketplace is that target farming for certain items, even with a boosted rate of Circle of Fortune, is not guaranteed for us to get our best in slot unique items or legendaries or unique with legendary potentials to have those items. I've spent hours farming for a silly necromancer ring and never got it. So if you're not finding your key build unique items after hours of farming, if you're not getting your legendary potential, or you just can't craft it correctly because of bad RNG, or you're sick of grinding and also playing non-stop for little reward, then trading can be great for you. Because trading will save a lot of time. Just by filtering items, you can find something that enables a build. And if you don't want to be crafting and also farming non-stop and getting nothing, or if you want to try a new build, you can collect a few items just by trading and start a new build and also start a new class and also mastery, just because those items are available on auction house and they're quite fairly priced and you can get your hands on it. So for me personally, if I want to try a new build, if I want to try an endgame build and I'm missing 1 or 2 pieces of the crucial items, by searching on the marketplace, I can have a fair understanding of how much gold I need and also how long I can grind. Even though if I don't find those items, I can sell other items in exchange to what I needed. And this is one of the best highlights for me to try the marketplace. Now before we finish, let's have a quick summary. What I'm planning to do is, I'm planning to go into the Merchant Guild after getting my higher ranks to Circle of Fortune. So what I'm planning to do is, just as a quick summary, I'm planning to get my Circle of Fortune to at least rank 7 if I can. And once I get to rank 7 with higher tier 7 chance, I'm happy to start my Merchant Guild. Now rank 6 is good, but I think rank 7 with tier 7 FX chance is one of the biggest highlight for me. And I think rank 8 will be too far away for me to get at the start of the game. Now it is potential, guys, I can get to rank 6 or even rank 5 with my Circle of Fortune. And then I'm going to trading, maybe get down to rank 4 at least. but this really depends how much experience it is needed and how long and also how hard I plan to grind into the new season. Now, I definitely spend a little more time talking about trading over here. So let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think about the Merchant Guild? And what are your methods and also what are your perspectives on using this particular feature in the game? And if you have any tips and also any tricks, feel free to share with us in the comments below.